Led Zeppelin acoustic time. Oh, hello there. I hear you're in the mood for some Zeppelin content. Well, that's what we're gonna do. Today's a Zeppelin video. Boom! Today we're gonna go all the way back to 1973, Houses of the Holy. My second, it's hard to choose, but probably my second favorite Zeppelin album ever, and the Rain song. Now this is a really interesting song, so I'm gonna give you a little bit of a backstory of it, break down some of the parts. There's acoustic, there's electric. It's in this crazy G-sus4 tuning, you know. What does it have? It has everything, because it's Jimmy Page. That's how he does it. He does everything. So let's go. So like I said, back to 1973, Houses of the Holy. What a just powerhouse of an album. So many great tracks. And sometimes I feel like the Rain song gets overlooked. You know, Page was just as good with an acoustic as he was with an electric. And this song, the reason the whole song even came about was actually because George Harrison was talking to John Bonham, and he was saying the problem with Led Zeppelin is that they don't do a lot of ballads. So what I could find is John Bonham brought that back to the band, and boom, started writing this. It's actually one of the few songs where I think all four band members receive composing credits on it. So it's kind of fascinating that this whole song was just George Harrison being like, hey, you guys don't do any ballads, you know, a little bit too much rocking and rolling maybe. And thus the Rain song was born. So like I said, the tuning, there's basically two different tunings you can follow. Typically when Zeppelin played it live, they left it in what would be a sus4 tuning. So they just basically left it in standard tuning and tuned two strings. But on the album, it's tuned down to what's called G-sus4 tuning. Alright, so your top string is tuned down to D. The next string, down to G. Then you have a C, G, C, and then D. So, like I said, it's pretty simple. Most of the strings are tuned down. You do have your B string, which you tune up to a C. But if you really look at the notes, it's essentially outlining a G-sus4 chord. So there's no third. There's no B note in here. So it works great, because you can just play that, boom, you got a chord. Now, something I learned right away from this song when I was trying to learn it is probably Page's most overlooked trait is how amazing he is at strumming. I quickly realized how bad I am at it, you know, compared to him, because I never really put a lot of attention on strumming in my practice routine, which is apparently a huge, you know, flaw in my playing, because it took me a minute to figure out. I'm like, whoa, I go, he's strumming, it's so soft. And then what happens is when you're strumming very lightly like that, he just puts a little bit of pressure and you see the notes bloom. So listen to that intro. I actually had to, I spun my pick around and I had to use the kind of the not so pointy part, because it just, his strums were so soft. And I'm like, man, that is just so much bite. And it sounded like he was, you know, I would use that for the point and I'd quickly spin the pick around in my hand. I was constantly flipping the pick around in my hand to try to get it to sound like Page, which is impossible. But it starts out all the way up here, and like I said, with the upstroke. Again, this goes back to the dynamic. So I'm just holding down 7 on the B and 7 on the D. And you pick, I'm kind of closer to the bridge, and you rake up, and you get that real nice bloom to the note. Normally you're going low to high strings, well now we go high to low, so it gives a whole different kind of character. And the strumming was really fascinating, because I kept wanting to strum more of a, I guess like a typical rhythm, and it was just down, up, down, up, down. It was real straightforward. I'm like, whoa, it's simple yet complicated. And then all he does is he moves it down, and here we have the electric come in. Another up strum. Now that one you get 5 strums on it. So you have, I'm sorry, that one's 6. And then you have this really cool walk. Now what's happening here, and I don't know the exact chords we're playing because I don't typically play in open tuning, so this was all just kind of like, oh wow, it makes you really rely on your ear whenever you're kind of experimenting with this to do your own thing. It's a really fun tuning. It's very, very musical. But he has this chord shape here, and he's basically going to go 5 on the D, 4 on the G, and then 5 on the B. Okay, so he hits his A string. Now, I walk it down like this, so I'm picking up my pinky to get this next chord. Okay, so I have open A string, and then twice, boom, I go to 3rd fret on the B string. Now everything else stays the same, which is a shape I use all the time. It's like your F chord shape. And all you do is you just take your pointer finger and then move it back down to 2. And there's the walk down. Okay? Real simple here. You just bar 3rd fret on the D, G, and B. Okay? Now, this is the part that really threw me off too, is that there's so much strumming always happening. Like I would want to like let the note breathe, and then there would be strumming. And sometimes I'd want to strum, and I'd be like, oh no, he's just letting the note breathe. So it really keeps you on your toes the whole time through this song. So yeah. And here, let's do the song and get his strumming perfect here, because I kept messing it up. But he hits the chord, and there's just like a moment of breath, and he goes back to strumming. And real 2 powerful open A's. And then, again, always strumming. He never really like lays off the strumming. So all that's happening here is think of it as if you're doing like an A power chord. Of course, it's not an A power chord because it's in open tuning. So I don't know what it is. It's an open tuning power chord. I'm just holding down 2nd fret on the D and the G here for this one. Okay? Now, you hit your A string open with it, and then I'm using my pinky here. You could use your ring finger to get 4th fret on the G. Okay? Just like that. But see how you like, naturally I want to go, but it's not that, it's. Okay, now next he comes up here to this higher part, and then it's the same kind of thing he did in the beginning, that shape, but he goes. Again, always strumming. The strumming is so difficult. So we're going to go up here, it's the same shape, so I'm holding down 11 on the B and 11 on the D. Then I go to 9. Okay. So I'm just kind of strumming up, down, because you want to get that up bloom on the note. Okay, so it goes 11, 9, 12, 11. Now you have to jump all the way down here to 4. It's like I said, it just shows you how powerful open tunings are, because it's the same shape. And he goes all the way up here. And it's on 9 on the D and the B again, but you have to have that 8 on the A. Okay, so good. Listen to that. Oh, it sounds great. Okay, and you do the whole thing again. So you go. Again, remember the strumming. I went. Here, the coolest part is this. Now, the electric does that, and just you hear it kind of like he randomly picks out notes, and it just kind of sits there. But really, what's happening here with the acoustic is this part my foot fell asleep. So it's that same F chord shape. We're on 10 on the B, 11 on the G, and then 12 on the D. Okay, so I play that. I'm throwing my open A string in there. I can't totally remember if Paige does. And you just slide it down a half step. Okay, now the electric holds that out, but the acoustic keeps on strumming. So, and he shifts right here to, I view it as like an A minor shape. So I'm gonna go 10 on the D, 10 on the G, 9 on the B. Okay, so. And I feel like he's hitting a lot of these chords on the upstroke. It's just kind of like a reoccurring theme. He could not be. Some of you guys might know better than me. And then here's another, just such a powerful melody. Okay, so very identical shape to what we were using before. It's just down a string. So I'm holding 5 on the high E string and 5 on the D. Okay? Then I go to 4 on the D. I keep my ring finger on that 5th fret on the high E string though, and I'm just kind of playing everything open. Then I pick it up. Power of that open tuning, right? You can play just like one finger as a new chord. Okay, now again, you keep strumming. The acoustic doesn't stop. And I think he just does it again. But then what happens is he adds a different tag on it. So what I mean by that is this. Listen to the rhythm I do. So he walks it back up. So now the tricky part here is getting back up here to do this. I can't tell you how many tries it took me to do that. He's just walking it out. Open, 4, 5 on the D. And right back into that sliding F shape. Again, I don't know exactly what the chord is, but it's just that F shape. A minor shape. Into this, and he does this chromatic section, which is such a quintessential part of Page's playing. He's constantly moving. It's like leading tones. He's leading you somewhere with chromatic tones, and he does it with melody, which is not always the case. Sometimes the chromatics are just there for a rhythmic, kind of like filler to get you to the next chord or next actual root tone or chord tone. But Page always does them in such a musical, rhythmic way. So here we go like this. We go. Same thing we did before. That second fret on the D and G, barring that with my pointer finger here, and I go. Okay, and then 4th fret on the G. Okay, acoustic keeps strumming, but what he does is he moves this D string note up each time. So he goes. Notice I went to 3 on the D. 4, 5. Okay. This really cool chord. It's very again, this is a really movable one. So again, just steal all of Page's chords. Trust me, it's worth it. Now the electric kind of takes over here a little bit more, but the acoustic holds down this next section. It goes. Listen to the song, the tracks. It's so cool to hear it. But he's moving to this. And he does it different live. Sometimes he adds hammer-ons. Sometimes on the recording you hear it's just kind of more straight. But basically you're holding 4th fret on the D, G, and the B, and 5th fret on the high E string. Okay? And you're strumming this. I like to throw the hammer-on in here. And he moves to this chord. So at least I think it's what it is. It was hard to hear really what it was, but it's my best guess. I'm holding down 2 now on everything, but 4 on the high string. Because you can hear this note walk down. And I think it keeps going like this. Big strum, back by the bridge. 2nd fret on the A, all the way through, and they have a little tag. Hear him, like he hits that note, but you can hear it's almost like a dead note in there. So it is that D string is definitely on there. I don't know if it's the acoustic or the electric. But I'm just holding down 2nd fret on the A string, and I strum all the way through, but pick back by the bridge. Okay? And then you're gonna do it again, but I hit the higher string, and that's where we're gonna leave off the acoustic part, because we gotta get the electric going. Okay, let me get the electric. Alright, so the electric section, we're not going to cover lots of it because it's basically mirroring the acoustic. It's like I said, it's more like a texture kind of thing for it. So you hear the beginning is all acoustic, and then you hear it in the background. And also, I don't know what effects Page is using on there. Like, I just like turned on a bunch of stuff. I'm like, that kind of sounds like it. So you have the first part, which is, of course, the acoustic, and then you have this accent that happens with the electric. Again, they're playing the exact same thing. There's only a couple parts where the electric and the acoustic really deviate and play different stuff. But for this one, you're just on that 6th fret. Okay? And then you hear the guitar just kind of holds it out while the acoustic keeps strumming. This is what I was talking about before. Since the acoustic is so busy, constantly strumming, the electric is way more just kind of like sitting back almost. I don't know how to describe it better than that. It's not being busy. It's very simple, and he's just accenting. So like you hear it go through this, and then strumming, and then again the acoustic strums. Then they constantly like join forces in the middle of the song. So it's really fascinating how it all works. Now, like I said, most of the electric parts are exactly the same as the acoustic part. There's only a couple. So like this one, when he goes, this part he just kind of holds out. Of course, the acoustic is strumming, and you can hear him kind of picking out different little bits and pieces in there. But one of the things that I thought was really fascinating is that next part where it goes. Well, the electric, it sounds like he's just going like this. So he's leaving out all those open strings, and it's very, very kind of like just like straight and very stiff sounding. Because the acoustic has that little bit of a swing and kind of swagger to it. So you're going to hold down 5th fret on the D and 5th fret on the high string. You just go. So again, same thing, but you're only playing those 2 strings. Then you have. Now here it starts doing some different stuff. So I'm gonna go. It's just a simple little walk down. It goes 2 to 4 on the G, open to 2 on the G. Okay, so 2 4, open 2 4 on the G. No, 4 on the D. Sorry. Then open G to 2nd fret on the D. Okay, so. There you guys have it. Obviously, there are lots of other parts to this song, lots of different little fascinating little tidbits, but that's going to be it for today. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Like I said, lots more Led Zeppelin videos. The big thing I wanted to do this year was really start incorporating some acoustic stuff. So lots of acoustic content coming. Still going to be tons of electric, more 80s stuff on the way, all that jazz. Well, maybe not jazz, but you know, all that rock and roll stuff. So other than that, hey, thank you guys all so much. If you would, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all later. All right, bye homies. Whoop!